You are listening to Love in Movement, a podcast where we share our unique expressions of living love in our daily life, inspired by messages in the book, A Course of Love.
Hey everyone, and welcome again to one of our episodes in our Love and Movement podcast series. And today's guest is Laurel Elstrom. She is joining us from Asheville, North Carolina. So welcome, Laurel. It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to talk to you again.
Laurel has a background in marketing and teaching. She's also a certified professional life coach. She's also the author of Love on the Mountain, A Guide to Self-Discovery. And that follows along with the Course of Love, 40 Days and 40 Nights. And I'll put the Amazon link in the description along with her website as well as her YouTube channel. The first question here is, you started recently a new group focused on oneness, or maybe you're calling it the Oneness Group.
Well, I've been doing a Course of Love study group for I don't know how many years now, and people have experienced growth and intimacy, and it's great. And then one day I was out running errands, and this voice says to me, "Go to the Goodwill over there." Well, I don't even like that Goodwill, and I don't go to Goodwill very often, but I recognize that voice when it speaks. So I went. I wasn't sure what I was supposed to find there, but then this book, when I cruised through the books, this book jumped out at me that it had one word. It was called Oneness by somebody named Rasha, one word author. And I picked it up and leafed through it, and I had a flash of recognition, and my whole being jumped out at it. And I bought the book and took it home and opened it up and just went, "Oh my goodness, what is this?" And I shared it with a friend who shared it with another friend. And then I shared it with a different friend who ordered it and shared it with a couple of her friends. And suddenly people were calling me and saying, "We need a group." That was the birth of the Oneness group. And I didn't know how many people would be interested. I didn't know where it was going to go. But the reason why I like it is because this idea of living in oneness, which A Course of Love calls unity and relationship, I find that everybody, no matter what their spiritual approach is or their religious component is, everyone who sees is a spiritual seeker seems to want this. Like, I want to live in this space where I recognize my oneness with everything. I don't just want to have a belief that I'm one with everything. I want to feel like I'm one with everything. I want to know my connection. I thought this would be a great group to have because it's not restricted to any one particular ideology. It's just centered around knowing and experiencing your unity. One of the things that I want to talk about in this conversation is the power of groups. Because of the fact that we're connected, and when we're on this almost cutting edge of this humanity moving forward business, it's just so important to have intimate connections with other people who are just as dedicated and interested as you are. So, I mean, all these Course of Love groups that happen across the country really, or the world actually, contribute to that, and the Course in Miracles groups. And the thing that has been fun about the Oneness group, I really approached it not as me leading a group, me teaching a group, but as me facilitating a collective. In fact, it's called the Oneness Collective. Means that the format of it is wide open and can change according to our needs.
I know you said everybody eventually comes together and shares experiences, and how that is being integrated in our daily lives. Do you want to say a little bit about that?
Yeah. And I suppose that that's one reason why there has been so much growth. And I think one of the reasons why that works is because one of the main tenets of the whole oneness work is we are multidimensional beings. And this aspect of our being is experiencing this human life. And in order for this human to stop suffering so much, we have to be willing to tell the truth to ourselves about our experience. And we have to be willing to feel the feelings. We have to be willing to confront our patterns, our thought patterns, our reactionary patterns, the way we respond to the ups and downs of life. We can't, and I know this is something you're interested in, Lynn, so a good segue. We can't, being a spiritualized identity isn't good enough. Having a belief in something isn't good enough. If it doesn't translate into my daily human life working better, it's not worth my time. The time for that is finished. The frequency on the planet is upgrading, and we have to clear the old junk out of the way in order for us to raise our vibration enough to move with the new vibration that's coming onto the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way to do that is to get the debris out. And the debris is all the old stuff we've been denying and refusing to feel, refusing to face. So that's why there's growth and movement, is because people are doing their work,
Doing
like
it. Yeah.
when stuff comes up that triggers them, instead of masking it or running from it, they're looking at it, and we reinforce that in each other, and we support each other.
So I love that you brought that up. I really,
Good.
really do. Yeah,
Yes,
because
yes.
that's important. And the feelings, how do we know when we're in that unity consciousness, and then also when a reaction comes up, or the awareness, okay, here's something, my body's in contraction, I feel tense, there's something coming up, that kind of thing.
So one of the reasons why people don't want to face it is because they think this is always going to be a part of me. This is permanent. This is who I am. This is part of who I am, and it's ugly, and I don't want it. So I'm not going to give it my energy. And what we're saying is, no, this isn't a permanent part of you. This is old stuff. So when you don't resist it and you allow this energy to release, then you're clearing the pathway, and you don't have to hold this stuff anymore. There are different ways to release it, but it all starts with saying yes to whatever comes up. This is a really basic tenet. Like,
Yeah.
you just say yes, 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 yes. Now, if I have extreme pain, it's not saying, yes, I love having extreme pain. That's not what it's saying. It's saying, yes, I really don't like having this extreme pain. And I say yes to the fact that I don't like it. I
Yeah.
say yes to whatever's true in this moment. And what I am endorsing is letting that idea of who we should be completely drop, and give unconditional openness toward who we actually are in every moment.
Yeah, I like that. The openness. There has to be openness to be able to just feel whatever it is, including the resistance, like you were saying, this is not about an idealized self.
I've been playing with this idea recently, like looking at what I think of as my personality that I've always identified as being who I am, and realizing that all these aspects of what I thought of as my personality were really, they're mostly defense mechanisms that have come up as a result of something in my past, or the way that I was treated as a child, or what I absorbed of who I should be. Like none of them is my original true nature. So what I might think of my personality as being, say, a good communicator, that happened because I was one of six children, and if you didn't communicate your needs, they didn't get known. If you can go through all of these aspects of yourself that you think are your personality and realize, oh no, they're just defense mechanisms. So what is my true nature?
Yeah.
And I have heard it said, and I've really been playing with this, is that my true nature is soft and open.
Love that. Can you say that again?
My true nature is soft and open.
Yes.
And I've been playing with this because I've noticed, like when I'm out in public or whatever, my little personality defense mechanisms, I have this habit of bringing them out, like when I'm meeting another person in an office or in a public place, being witty, or looking for some way to connect, like trying to be a person. And instead, I'm telling myself soft and open.
Mhm.
And then whatever happens, maybe there's an exchange of energy, maybe there's an exchange of words, maybe there's no exchange. It doesn't matter. My job is to stay soft and open. Then I'm actually interacting from my true nature instead of all this past
Mhm.
layers of garbage
Mhm.
these shields that I've built up to
Yeah.
protect myself. Who am I protecting? I'm protecting my identity. And
Mhm.
it doesn't need to be protected because I'm not interested in that anymore. I'm
Yeah, thank
interested
you for
in
that. I love that softness and openness. And I would just add, it's like it's our natural state, as you said, but it's also it's effortless. But that energy radiates out.
yes.
And so you may just be the frequency anchor right there, right now, in that
Yep.
moment. Or like you said, you may be guided to say something. But see, it comes from the heart space, is what I'm hearing.
Yep. And it relates back exactly to what A Course of Love teaches about how this new world will come about. It says the time of the Holy Spirit has passed when we needed an intermediary, and how we're going to move into this new age is through observation. So the original intent in coming into physical form was to find a way where we could observe ourselves through other expressions of the one, and we could be observed. So when we're functioning in the world as our true nature, so if I'm going to the doctor's office soft and open, then everybody I encounter gets to observe my true nature and gets to feel me connecting with their true nature.
Mm.
And that's how the new world comes to pass, not by people banging up against each other's defense systems.
I was going to ask you another question about, yeah, dealing with the certain current chaos that's going on in the world and how to maintain this frequency.
Yeah, boy, that's a question. I've heard it said, I'm sure you have too, probably others, that a lot of what's showing out in the world today, that's being reflected in all that chaos and controversy and partisanship and fighting, is the death of the old world. You know, it's the last screaming vestiges of that world, and the chaos is happening in order to expose what's not working so that we can scrap the system and come up with a new system. So being able to live in that kind of a world without getting caught in the chaos requires a certain level of trust. That's actually what's happening. You know, that this is just growing pains, and I trust that it's going to end however it needs to end. However, when you look at it from the point of the fear or love, which is a huge part of A Course of Love and A Course in Miracles, everything's either fear or love. If I'm afraid of what's happening in the world, which jar am I putting my marbles into? It's really important that I not buy into fear, even when I see its effects in the world. It's really important that I use my energy for connection and for commonality and for maintaining this vibratory level that's going to move us toward love. So it's not just on the one level, it's like, how do I survive as an individual in the midst of this chaos? But it's so much more, so much bigger than how do I survive without suffering? It's where am I going to put my juice?
Yeah.
Where does my energy go?
Yeah.
And it's we have to maintain
Mm-hmm.
a higher vibration in order for our contribution to be toward what we actually want, which is a world of connection and love.
What came up for me was sort of equanimity, which is not getting pulled in or freaking out or buying into the fear, like you just said.
You get into the point here too where you don't want a spiritual bypass about this. You don't want to say, well, I should be thinking loving thoughts. So even though I hate what that guy's saying and I hate what he represents, I'm going to deny that. And I'm going to paint it over with this loving brush. That's not what we're talking about here. Tempting, but it's not it. I found it important to look at people in my life who are on the opposite ends of, who are promoting things that are the opposite of what I believe to be helpful and good for the planet and for my country, and realize that they actually believe a different story than I do. They're not a bad person. They just are listening to a different spin and they believe a different story. And if I believed the story that they believe, I might feel the same way they do. And I might take the same actions they do, which means it's just stories. It's beside the point. It's not that I agree with them. It's not that I think that they're right. It's that it doesn't matter. What matters is who they are. What matters is our connection. It's a place where you could easily get into denial if you think I should be promoting love, but I really hate that guy. It's just a recognition. We talk about it like in my Course of Love group. We have this image of it that has been really helpful. It's like every spark of the divine that's embodied is wearing a Halloween costume. And some of the costumes I like, and some I don't like. Some are really ghoulish. And it's not my job to approve or disapprove of their costume. I need to see who they are beneath the costume.
Yeah.
And connect to the person who's wearing the costume so that every personality, every body, every belief system is part of the costume.
Yeah. Yeah, what I'm hearing is like you're saying that the relationship and the connection is not surface. It's not on the surface. You're going deep. And
Right.
in order to see and feel that within someone else, you're seeing it and feeling it within yourself.
Yeah.
Is that kind of like what you were saying?
Yeah, and I think fundamental to that, the ability to actually do that is the recognition that, okay, the way I've been conditioned, all of my conditioning and the programming and experiences and blah, blah, blah that have created this personality, they aren't who I actually am, and neither are yours. And that recognition, like we need to deal with the real person, not
Yeah.
the outer
Yeah.
presentation.
Yeah. Not that identification necessarily with a separate personal self.
Right.
Yeah, because
Exactly.
we're not separate. If we're in unity and oneness, we maybe the awareness is not always there, but it's changeless. You know, the true self, the light of who we are, the love, it's changeless.
Yeah.
And so, and we've all been conditioned. We've been through the programs and different cultures, different families, all of that. And
Mm.
yeah. Talk about your current spiritual path. And I think you've been doing some of that already. And what do you focus on these days and any new ideas coming up?
Yeah. I've really been coming out of the realm of beliefs and really concentrating on actual experience and integrating all of that. That's kind of a broader level. On a more specific level, just really trying to be aware of when I'm triggered by what and allowing myself to investigate that, feel it fully. Somatic release seems to be really important in letting go of some of that old baggage. I really want to clear out the system of my old baggage and allow, there's like this, when we talk about oneness, to me, oneness has to do with the pulse of life itself. Like when I go into meditation and I say, what do I absolutely know that's true? What's here? I find that who I really am is just basic awareness. There's like an awareness energy field that's there. And that's all I actually am. And the rest is just a play. And so bringing that awareness to every aspect of my experience and greeting it with openness and acceptance and allowing that life energy, which is oneness, it allows that to flow more freely through my experience. When I can get as much of the old crap out of the way as possible, then there's an open freeway for life itself to sort of
Yeah.
live through my experience, I guess.
Flow. That
I
was
know.
the word that came to me, for life to just flow with that naturalness, like you were saying, the softness
Mhm.
and openness and the trust.
But when we don't trust, it's because we're self-defending. And,
Yeah.
that's worth inquiry. Like, why do I feel like I need to defend myself on this? What's here that needs to be released, that needs to be loved into wholeness?
Yeah.
Really, everything that comes up just wants to be loved. It wants to be seen, accepted, and loved. I always say that acceptance is your get out of jail free card. When you're stuck, or you didn't do it right, or you feel like you blew it, or you don't know what to do next, just pull out your get out of jail free card and accept whatever is. And it's like a trap door into release.
Wow. Release and freedom. There you go.
There you go.
Well, thank you so much, Laurel, for joining us. This is a great conversation. And I just want to thank all of our listeners out there. And also, once again, that Laurel's link to her website, her Amazon link to her Love on the Mountain discovery of self-discovery book based on 40 days and 40 nights. Actually, it follows the 40 days and 40 nights. That will be on the description box, as well as her link to her YouTube channel.
Thanks very much. It's been great.